Shwmai a croeso cynnes. Welcome to What's Your Stori. I'm James Owen, a Welsh filmmaker and storyteller, and I'm passionate about sharing stories. This podcast is all about business owners sharing their journey. We'll be speaking with directors, entrepreneurs, and creatives from all across Wales to learn from their experiences. We believe everyone has a story to tell. What's your story? Shwmai, croeso cynnes, welcome back to What's Your Story. And I've got a really interesting episode here today where we're going to take a deep dive into a woman who has really excelled in business here in South West Wales. Today's guest, I have a successful business owner who has spent decades building her own business and has successfully sold that business now and is now looking for the next thing. She's an entrepreneur, a mother. She's the Queen of Steel on What's Your Stori today, Alex Shufflebottom. Diolch, Alex. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you very much for asking me.
You're very, very welcome. I thought when I heard a snippet of your story, your whistle-stop tour at an event, I thought, yeah, we got to unpack it. It's quite hard to talk about yourself in 20, 30 minutes, isn't it?
Yes, it very much so. It's a bit nerve-wracking for me. This is very new for me, but we'll give it a go.
Give it a go, but it's good. It's good to have experiences like this and put yourself out there. And you've built your life. You spent most of your life building Shufflebottom. And for those of you that don't know, we'll unpack that in a minute. But yeah, you're in a different season of life now where you're on to the next thing. But Shufflebottom, a very successful, and still is, a very successful company based right here in Carmarthenshire and Cross Hands. And tell me a little bit about the history, the summary, if you could say to the viewers and those listening, Shufflebottom, what is Shufflebottom? What is the sort of day-to-day operation of what they do?
Okay, so Shufflebottom was our family business. It was started by our parents almost 50 years ago, although in May we became incorporated for 40 years. My father was an on-site welder. My mother used to go to the markets and sell wrought iron that he made on the market stalls in Carmarthen. One day when she was heavily pregnant with my sister, she attended the doctors and the doctor said, who can make some gates? And my mother said, Martin can, and they'll be £28. But to make these gates, you had to buy a drill for £27. But so the story started as it was. And from gates eventually came buildings. And from there we grew as a business to the business that we then sold 2 years ago.
Wow, fantastic. So literally, your dad didn't know what to do. He just saw an opportunity and thought, right, I need some tools to make this now. And
yeah.
that developed into the huge sheds and buildings and steel that you fabricate today, 40, 50 years later.
Yeah, so we started manufacturing in Llanelli, Five Arch first of all, then Llanelli, where Jones International Buses is, if anybody is familiar with that. We then moved to Pentre Awel, which is by the White Hart in Llanelli, which was then sat on the A40, and we would offload Arctic loads of steel on the A40, which wasn't very popular locally.
Would you do that now?
No, you'd be allowed to do that today, would you? And then we moved to Cross Hands, where we built a purpose-built site there for ourselves in the early 90s. And the business began to grow. My father was killed in an accident in 1993. The business shouldn't have survived, but it did. There were some very challenging years, but it survived and it began to grow. Then in about 2006, I was already working in the business, so too was my brother and our then general manager, Alec. We were all in the business and my mother came to us and said, I'm going to sell the business. And we were like, oh, cheers, thanks for that. We've worked really hard here. And she's like, it's okay. You three are going to buy me out. We're like, buy you out? With what? She goes, don't worry. There are plenty of people that will lend you the money. And we found that, yes, that was actually the case. And a deal was done. And in March 2008, we had a management buyout, which saw myself, my brother, and our then general manager buy my mother's shares out of Shufflebottom.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So at the time, when your dad, you had this tragic accident, were you working in the business at the time?
I wasn't. I was only 16. It was a week after my 16th birthday.
Oh my gosh.
But I did then technically become company secretary because we needed a company secretary. But at that stage, I just signed things, really.
So very immediately, you could sort of quickly came into the business as a result of that?
Yes, I went to university. I went to Swansea University, did a psychology degree. Through the summer holidays, through that, I did work in the office. When I finished university, again in the summer, I was working in the office, trying to, pay back my terrible student debt. And our buyer resigned. And my mother said to me, on Monday, you're going to be the buyer. And I was like, oh, no, I can't do that. I'll never learn that. She goes, well, you're going to have to learn because on Monday, you're going to be the buyer. But I did learn it, and so it went on, and things progressed from there, really.
So literally work the way up, which is fantastic. And it's good because when you work your way up in any organisation, any business, you get to know all levels of the business. You're good at finance, you're good at practical logistics, sales, operations. So, it's probably taught you a lot over the years because if you're leading a company with lots of staff, you've got to be able to put yourself in their shoes. If you're trying to encourage somebody or delegate a task, you've got to know how it's done.
Yeah.
Or you can't tell somebody to do something you can't already do yourself. So you probably gained a lot of experience working your way up.
Yeah, and I think that's really
knowing
important.
the business inside and out.
Yeah, you learn. There was so many roles that you learn about and get on with and do. My husband, he's also a fabricator, but he used to drive lorries now and again for Shufflebottom in addition to his day job. And I would go with him in our early dating years. It would be in the ERF hotel, which isn't a hotel, it's a lorry. But, I saw what it was like to deliver buildings. I saw what it was like to go to galvanisers. I saw a different side of the business in different roles.
Yeah, because that's very important, actually, because you can build on-site in Crosshands a fantastic building, a unit, a shed, or whatever that may be. It needs to get to site, doesn't it? So that's another logistical challenge in itself.
Yeah, and realising, by going with him in the lorry, I had a better understanding of the challenges that are faced on the road. I mean, we just think, you make the building, off it goes in the lorry, they'll take it there and happy days. But there are all sorts of challenges along the way. Every role within a business has challenges, and it's good to see those and have a better understanding.
So your first stage of sort of ownership of the business was the management buyout.
Yeah.
Your mum, did she encourage you, told you, forced you to buy in?
There wasn't much choice.
It wasn't much choice. But I guess it's probably important for her to keep in the family. Because,
yes.
Your mother would have had a lot of time and energy, and your father as well, in trying to raise a family whilst running a business. I mean, that's another thing we can talk about. So, yeah, the management buyout early on, was that 2006, 2008?
2008, March 2008, the management buyout happened. The country then went into recession in April.
That was a difficult year. I don't remember it so much, but I know from now running a business, the financial impact it had on businesses across the UK.
We then had 5 very difficult years there. We had cash flow issues, we had workflow issues, we had a number of issues. It was tough, very tough. But it then got tougher. We then had a fatality on a site, and that was obviously significantly worse. But as much as we had many challenges, there was many highs. We became the market leader in what we did. We won significant awards. One of the awards we won was against the largest steward contractor in Europe. We did very well. We were at the top of our game, and we had a brilliant name. Shufflebottom is a very well-respected, well-known brand, particularly in the agricultural sector, but throughout all sectors as well now.
And one of the awards, you were on the train having a few drinks, weren't you?
Yes.
Why is that?
We didn't really think that we had much of a chance of winning the award. So I made a picnic for us all. And we started drinking on the train, and obviously Swansea to London takes a little time. So by the time we got to London, we were a little bit well-oiled, I will say. And then we got our glad rags on, went to the awards, drank a little bit more. So we were very happy when we got on stage.
I bet And how many staff were in the business at the time in Shufflebottom?
94. Plus we had all the steel erectors are subcontractors. So the most gangs of steel erectors we ever had was about 21 was the most we ever had. But steel erecting, it's not something that people seem to want to get into so much these days. So there are less
Shortages
gangs.
in people and skills,
Yes,
maybe.
yes, yeah.
But, you know, winning that award, what a feeling that must have been, because thinking, you know, what sort of size company we were up against?
Oh, they were massive companies. You know, we were really up against massive companies. But we did well. We deserved that award. We won that award. But it also did change the way that other people looked at us. We were able to operate in slightly different markets off the back of that. I think people took us seriously in markets that they hadn't yet before. So it was a brilliant award. You know, it was brilliant for, a Welsh company to win, but brilliant for somebody in our sector to win. It was fantastic.
And I think it's great to have that recognition, because sometimes in Wales we can think quite small about business, can we? But a small business, I think even for me, £1 million turnover for me just seems enormous. But I've gotten to know more and more people locally who are running multi-million-pound businesses. It can be done in Wales. Now, what's interesting, because you had a real strong reputation in agriculture, in the farming sector, so that, what came out of that for you was an opportunity to commercialise the business a bit better, because I think when you get known for doing one thing really well, maybe people don't come to you because they don't think you can do it. Because, like, let's say a school, right? Or churches, you've mentioned, some of the things and projects you've worked on and built. It's a bit different of a farm shed, isn't it?
It is. In many ways it is, but some of the fundamentals are the same. We were operating in the commercial and industrial sector before we won this award. We did lots of, really prestigious projects, throughout the UK, but also on our doorstep. Awel in Crosshands. We've done a lot of those buildings over the years, very obviously well known. Folly Farm, we did buildings there. We've done all sorts of buildings for all sorts of people. But I think it made some of the main contractors look at us differently. So then I wouldn't say found it easier to operate in those markets, but they saw us more. So we ended up doing some more schools and some different projects.
I mean, steel is steel, so you're right in the sense of the material's the same, but it's interesting. Do you drive around with the family and go, we did that? And the kids are like, oh, man,
Yes.
Yes.
So other people, I think, play yellow car game. They've got to spot yellow cars on the roads as
What's
they
your
go.
game?
We had to spot sheds.
Spot sheds.
Yeah.
We've done that. Oh, we haven't done that one. Oh, that's not a very good shed, that is. We could have done better.
Yeah,
now.
slow down. Who's with that shed? Yeah.
Fantastic. It's great to hear about that success you've had, and as a local company, it's great to see the impact you've had. More recently, for those watching and listening, I live in Llanelli. Stori Cymru is based in Llanelli, and literally across the road from where the studio is now is Pentre Awel. So Pentre Awel is part of a Swansea-based City deal investment. It's a £96 million project, phase 1, zone 1. To the lovely people of Llanelli and surrounding, we now have a brand new leisure centre, which is fantastic. It's got a pool, gym, and all sorts. Have been there for lots of different things. And you were one of, out of, a main contractor, predominantly a French company, but lots of subcontractors have had success in procuring work. And you are one of the biggest players who I think had quite a chunk of money from that project. What was it like for you seeing that, that the Pentre Awel, that was built and designed and planned and talked about for years and years and years. What was it like for you? Because that was quite a big project for Shufflebottom.
It was a big project. It's not the biggest project we've ever done. It's the biggest project we've done locally. It was a project that we were incredibly proud to be involved in on our doorstep for a number of reasons. It came at a time we were coming out of COVID. It was good to secure a job of that size and local. But what was really important to me was that a lot of the people that work in Shufflebottom will be involved in the construction of the project. They will be involved in it from the office, from the factory. A lot of the people that work in Shufflebottom live locally, will have seen the project go up. But not only that, they will get to use it. And if they don't use it, their children will use it. And in the future, when other parts of the project come on board, they don't know where they'll need their help. My daughter, a few weeks ago, she played netball there. They all joke and laugh at me how I became emotional as I walked into Pentre Awel. But to see my daughter play in Pentre Awel was an incredible moment for me. Almost 2 years after we've sold Shufflebottom, I'm still so passionate about that company succeeding and the work that we've done.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I was speaking to somebody earlier this week. I think construction companies in South Wales, they feel very bitter about Pentre Awel because, of course, it's not a Welsh construction company building it, right? And it's quite a large project. But I was telling somebody this week, well, did you realise how many subcontractors have been used for the project? Yes, okay, it's not 100% all in Wales, but you've got to, there are some things in construction that are totally specialist that cannot be done in Wales, and I think people need to understand that. But yeah, the fact that Shufflebottom were one of the big subcontractors getting the work, that was, I don't know if you're allowed to say how many, it was more than a couple of million, wasn't it, the project, the cost?
It was a big job. But they did work very hard to make sure that a lot of local and as much local work could happen as possible. We got the project. We're based in Carmarthenshire, obviously a stone's throw from the site. But they also wanted us, where possible, to use local suppliers, local workers. Bouygues may well be a French main contractor, but a lot of the people that worked on that project were Welsh, from Carmarthenshire and local. And they worked really, really hard to make sure that a lot of local businesses got work there. So I would say that they did try hard to include people.
They did try hard. I think I've seen some of the stats actually about the percentages of what was procured locally in Carmarthenshire in Wales.
Yeah.
I've been there recently. I think the beams in the swimming pool, they've come from like Canada or Norway, somewhere outside of Wales, because of the type of wood it is, and it's a sort of wood that doesn't. Believe it, in a swimming pool, right? You can get a lot of moisture, it's humidity, but it's a type of wood that doesn't rot, or it's treated in such a way that it's low maintenance, because you certainly don't want a rotting beam above you when you're swimming, do you?
No, but we can't do every single thing. But everything they could have done locally, I believe they did.
I believe they did. So that was probably when, and it's good to see that, you've done bigger projects in Shufflebottom. But I think, it hits home when you do something more locally, and to be there watching your daughter play netball, what a feeling there must have been, and a sense of achievement that, okay, you might have done things outside the UK or in England, Scotland. I don't know where some of the bigger projects you've done, but I think to have it in your home is obviously very special. Now with Shufflebottom itself, that coming out of COVID, secure a big contract. Good. That sounds great. Businesses is going good, but we've had some really, really challenging times. And I hope you don't mind sharing about the story where. I think it was, I think you were taking one of the kids to school. You shared this a couple of weeks ago where essentially a supplier owed you a lot of money and you didn't know if you were going to come out the other side.
A customer owed us quite a lot of money. I was on the way to pick the kids up from school, and I was told that a company related to this company had gone into administration, and we did have some very worrying times. But we were paid and everything was fine. But, in any business, there are many, many times where people have, cash flow issues, and they are, very difficult. So if you haven't got any money, if you need £10,000 or if you need £100,000, if you haven't got that money, the worry is the same. The notes might be different, but it's the same.
Same problem.
Same problem on a different scale, but it's the same problem.
The buck stops with you. Or there's a few of you directors. Yeah. You're responsible for all the staff. It's a significant weight and a responsibility. I feel it even in my own business. How do you get yourself out of those, like psychologically, mentally? You know, what have you done to sort of overcome those those difficult times? How do you get out of it? Because it can be so overwhelming that you don't come out of it. Well, what's been the thing for you that's got you out of those dark places, Alex?
I was very lucky that I worked with my brother and Alec, who, although not family, became like family. The three of us were incredibly close. We are still incredibly close. I think that was very important. I also have, supportive husband, son and daughter as well.
So that it's the people around you in business, in family that have got you through those times.
Yeah, and there's people outside, unlikely people that people maybe they wouldn't think. I mean, I've become very friendly with. He's a competitor of ours, but
are you mates?
Very friendly. He's been a huge support over the years. We had, a fantastic accountant. He was a fantastic support to us over the years. The people in Shufflebottom, we worked together. We did a lot to support the people that worked in Shufflebottom, but they also would support us. When you work day in, day out with the same people, they see on your face that, sometimes things aren't going quite to plan.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other times, obviously, I did manage to hide that things weren't going too great. But, yeah, the support of other people, I think.
Of other people. That's good advice for those who are maybe struggling, because it's a tough economic climate at the moment. But I think something I've heard a lot about you when you talk about the business, the team is so important. To win £1 million contracts, you've got to have a solid team who can deliver, and it's not just the fabricators, it's the delivery, the logistics, the erectors, it's the whole lot. And you work hard. It's not an easy task, is it, doing what you do? What have you done to sort of build a healthy, hard-working culture in Shufflebottom? What's the sort of secret that you've helped build? Because although it's been set up predominantly, family business, your father started it, but it's been carried through the likes of yourself and your brother and Alec over the years.
We all worked incredibly hard. We tried hard to have a good business, always doing the right thing, looking after people. We had amazing relationships with long-standing customers, employees, suppliers. That was really important. The hard work of everybody together is the backbone of what makes companies a success. And it certainly was the backbone of what made Shufflebottom a success.
And on the point of hard work, I'm seeing a trend with lots of young people. I mean, there's a huge construction skills shortage. You shared earlier about a shortage of steel erectors. How do you, because hard work, a working ethic, being hard work, it's a personality thing. How do you, what am I trying to say? Because hard work is the key to what you do, right? So if a person isn't working hard, then the cogs, there's chain, there's a link in the chain is loose, so to speak. So how do you encourage people to work hard? Is it motivating them with money and keeping them well paid? Is it the benefits that you give to the team and the people as part of that culture?
I think there was all sorts of benefits, really. I mean, I think that everybody in Shufflebottom saw, or they had an insight into what we did. So people were prepared to go above and beyond, and they did. We did reward people. We did funny, quirky things, like on Easter, people would have Cadbury's cream eggs, or they'd have pancakes on Pancake Day, or we do hampers at Christmas. During COVID, we gave everybody hampers. There was all sorts of things. We looked after people. We looked after them well, I feel. We also tried to support all kinds of initiatives. Somebody that worked with us for many years was unfortunately diagnosed with prostate cancer. He is okay, but this is going to be a problem. Well, it is a problem for him. But, we took that. We approached Prostate Cymru. We got Prostate Cymru to come in and do a talk to everybody in the factory and in the offices. And we started to become comfortable talking about the uncomfortable. And I know what we did, made 3 people that we know of, because we don't know everybody's personal situations, go and have further investigations. One person was diagnosed and treated symptom-free of prostate cancer. And so from what we did, we know that at least one life was saved. But then off the back of that, we had somebody come in and discuss breast cancer to everybody, mental health. We became comfortable talking about uncomfortable topics. I myself did, my dissertation was on menopause in the workplace. And maybe not everybody really wants to be talking about this. And it's obviously a subject that I myself was a bit, I don't know about. But it just became more acceptable to talk about these things, and a very inclusive workforce then came.
Being uncomfortable with the uncomfortable, I like that. And it's important because I think your staff then see that you do care. You're not doing a tick a box for a tender application, or we do social value, or you're doing this because you care. And it's incredible to hear that somebody had actually were able to make something very aware of their health situation because somebody came in and raise that awareness through the likes of the good work of Prostate Cymru, what they do.
Yeah.
Very, very good charity. Incredible to see that you're bringing those people in. There's so many things that we need help with in an organisation, building a team. Mental health is probably one of the biggest things, quite challenging as well. And on the point of hard work, because I think mental health can be difficult because I think it's easily labelled, or people can be quite quick to say, I've got bad mental health, but is it mental health? You've got to be careful these days, because I think in my experience, when I've worked with especially young people, I think mental health is a bit of a term that can be used quite easily to excuse performance in a sense. That's been my experience, but it's hard to know. You've got to take precaution in it, because you can't just go, well, you're just a bit lazy, or you're pulling my leg here, because you just don't know.
Yeah. And people have challenges that we know nothing about. We live in a high pressure world, don't we? And we just don't know. All sorts of people have mental health issues.
Yeah. So it's important to listen, take time to hear from your staff, your team, and your directors, and probably what's good as well is you've got that good relationship with, of course, at the high level in the business, where if you're a solo director, it can get quite lonely, isn't it? But that's good. Thank you for sharing some of that, and really pleased to hear some of the positives come out of raising awareness for some of those health issues, which is great. So Shufflebottom, you've sold it 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
Why do you sell it?
Number of reasons. When it was challenging, it was incredibly challenging. There were some, particularly challenging moments. And if I'm honest, I don't want my children to go through some of the things that we had to go through. They were obviously fully on board with us selling. And also, there is a different life out there. I did put Shufflebottom before everything else, and I want to have time to put other things first now and see more of the world, travel, see more of my family.
So do you sleep more as a result of selling?
Oh, I sleep a lot better now.
Yeah, I bet.
Yes, yeah.
I bet. Because the bigger the business, the more staff, the bigger the stress, the bigger the problem, the challenge.
Yeah. But it was hard to leave. It wasn't easy. A decision to sell a business that has been, your life was not easy at all. But we did decide that was the best thing, and I don't regret selling it. But I did definitely underestimate how hard it would be to leave there.
Yeah, I've had lots of conversations with people who have been in similar positions, selling businesses, because you pour your life and soul into it, and your identity. I mean, your name is Shufflebottom.
Yeah.
The brand is Shufflebottom. So I can imagine that's very tough to let go and transition. And you're in that season of life now where you're looking for the next thing. And you'll never not be Shufflebottom because that is your name. But I bet it's been hard and difficult for you to let go of that transition period then.
Yeah, it is hard, very hard. But, I want Shufflebottom to succeed in the future. But it is hard. It's hard also that you're not up thinking about it 24/7.
Yeah.
I still think about it quite a lot, though. But,
yeah. But less, because you get some sleep now, which is good.
Yeah, I definitely sleep better.
Which is fantastic. What have you learned through, selling the business? What have been some of those lessons that you've learned that maybe you can take into this next season of maybe mentorship, supporting startups, or it could be businesses that want to grow? What have you learned from the decades of running and building Shufflebottom? What have you learned you're going to take into this next chapter?
I think we took for granted some of the things the experiences we had along the way. There were some, highs, as I've said, and there were some definite lows. I want to use those years' experience to help and support other people. I have real life experience of what these things are like, which we took for granted, and I just thought this is how everybody else went about the place. But, now I'm realising that a lot of those things that we faced were unique, but also very similar in many ways to other people and other challenges that people face. Hard work, that is the big one. Looking after people, being a good business, those are the... really answered your question.
Well, they're not lessons. They're probably affirmations or reaffirming the things you did really well that you think we need to continue doing these well, whether that's in another business or you're just helping somebody to implement that in their organisation. But yeah, hard work, looking after people. There's some of the things, and we shared offline earlier, for us as entrepreneurs and owners of businesses, you're no longer, but I'm sure you'll be an owner of something very soon. But when we are the most passionate people about our businesses, aren't we? You can look after your staff really well and give them all the tools and invest in them, but they're just never going to meet that enthusiasm and passion that we have, because when it's your own business, it's yours, isn't it? It's your baby, it's your thing. You can never get as more passionate than the business owner itself.
No, but there were a lot of people that were very passionate about Shufflebottom and who still are very passionate about Shufflebottom, and that, is amazing. And
who knows, they might go on and management buyout. They might take over the company in years to come. Who knows? But yes, it's fantastic to hear a bit about that journey. You're building a bit of a resume now. You're involved in manufacturing in Wales. You're on the board with the Manufacturing Wales?
Yeah, I sit on the board Manufacturing Wales. I'm still involved in RIDBA, which is a trade association for shed builders. I've recently joined Women Angel of Wales, investing in Welsh female-led businesses. That's very exciting.
Oh, good.
Mentoring, all kinds of things. My husband also has his own fabricating company, which I have helped him in for a number of years. So I still continue doing that. I don't know if he really wants to do that, but properties, all sorts of things. There's a bit of a portfolio, really.
Good, exciting.
So it's exciting.
Invested in any businesses yet?
In the process of one at the moment.
Okay.
So
you go through. You can't talk about it. It's all hush hush. Investing in male businesses as well, or just women?
Yes. No. Obviously I'm a woman, but I've always been a woman, haven't I? And this is me. So no, the one that we're looking at the moment is owned by a man, but has a very strong female senior leadership team.
Oh, brilliant! Exciting.
But I'm open either way.
I am looking for investors for another business, but that's another thing. But yeah, great. So yeah, it's good to see that you're busy with other things. You've got interest in other areas, which hopefully now in this next season will really help and support you to keep busy, because I'm sure dropping Shufflebottom now, you've just probably got so much more time on your hands.
Yeah, I haven't been bored one day. I haven't had to watch daytime TV or anything like that.
That's good. I couldn't think of anything worse, right? But you got lots of time to do all the fun things, family, travel.
Yeah.
But yeah, in in the next year, what are you really pushing for now? What's the sort of key thing you want to help? Is it you want to find more businesses to invest in? Is it more consultancy and coaching businesses? What's next for you, Alex?
Yeah, more mentoring and consultancy work, that would be good. My son has recently joined my husband's business, so, supporting there where possible. My daughter's about to finish school. We have a few irons in the fire, we'll say.
Good. And on a mentorship base, what does a mentor mean to you?
I think that I was incredibly lucky that I worked with my brother and Alec. So I did have support. However, also running a business can be incredibly lonely. And it would be good that people have somebody that they can reach out to. You might not be able to solve their problem, but they can feel heard and they know that they're not alone. I think that's the biggest thing. There are things that I will maybe look at in another person's business and think, oh gosh, why don't you do it like this? And they'll go, oh yeah, that's quite obvious. But I have the benefit of standing back. So it's a lot easier to stand back and see things than it is when you're involved in the day-to-day.
Because when you're in it, and you get tunnel vision, or you're focusing on something else. It's quite hard to take a step out of the business and work on the business when you're in it and working in the business, isn't it?
And that was something that, our accountant always used to say that to us. You need to step back, you need to work on, not in. But when you're building a company and you're, often doing it on a shoestring, you are working in it, not on it.
Yeah, you've got to adapt. Yeah, because if you need marketing but can't afford it, I'm going to do the marketing. I can't afford an accountant, I've got to do the bookkeeping. So yeah, you've just got to build the business, grow the business to be able to outsource all that support and help. But I would say mentoring is so important. I mean, I've had a business coach now for the last 4 or 5 years. It's vital for me to have somebody to turn to and get advice and give that, even just that second look, that other perspective is so helpful, because I'd like to think that I'm an expert in storytelling in my world of media. But then, it's helpful having somebody share an understanding from a different angle, whether that be in finance or whether that be in business development. It's just good to have that soundboard. I think for me, any business owner should absolutely have a mentor.
Yeah. And they're not emotionally involved, are they? So they're more detached from the situation. They can give a broader view, I suppose, and a different view. Yeah,
100%. Because I think when emotion's involved in our decision making in a business, the emotion sometimes can take over, depending on your personality type. But I'm kind of a feeler. I am quite logical and methodical, but I do have an emotional side of me that gets a gut feeling about something, and that can influence your decision making quite a bit. So having somebody who's not emotionally attached can just say, a spade is a spade, isn't it? This is the situation. Here's the fact. Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, the thing could be very obvious. It's like, why don't you do like this? And you think, that's actually so obvious when you look at it like that, or you think about it that way.
When you build that shed this way.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'd love to hear, we've got to hear a little bit about your background, your story, building this family business. You've got all the time on your hands. If you could spend an hour now and listen to anyone's story, I'd love to know, Alex, whose story would you love to hear? Who's maybe been influential, inspirational in your world, personal life, in the building the business? I'd love to know whose story would you love to hear?
That's a really difficult one. I think maybe people who are successful in our sector, that you can really get to know the conversations that they probably couldn't have with everybody.
Yeah.
That would be good to know some of the stories that you can't say. I mean, obviously I could tell you all sorts of stories which you probably couldn't air. But
we'll have the extended edition, okay?
To get to know those about all sorts of businesses, would be great.
Any in particular you'd love to know? Go on, put on the record. Brian from Castell Awel.
Castell Awel is a brilliant business, and you know, we know Castle Howell. I think a great deal of Castle Howell. They've been a huge support to us, as they have been a huge support to many people in the community as well. I bet you they've got some good stories to say.
Brian, I'm gunning to have him on. I think what a fantastic brand. I'll share this with you quickly. You know, how old is Brian?
Not
He's he's old. I think that's fair to say. He's a great man. A friend of mine's got a coffee shop, and this happened about last year, I think. And he phoned out of hours to put an order in for his coffee shop in Llanelli. And Brian was on the phone. Brian was answering the out of hours phone for Castle Awel, thinking, "You've got 900 staff. Is there nobody else who can answer the phone?"
passionate about his business.
That's
He wants to do
incredible.
well. And if he hadn't answered the phone, who would have? So he had to, didn't he?
Yeah. I just love that. But yeah, whose story would you love to hear?
I don't know. It'd be nice to know things like, I don't know, like obvious person, but like, you know, the Queen, to get to know. Obviously, we see the facade that the royal family put out, but
Yeah.
it'd be funny to know, or exciting to know the stories in the background that nobody would ever hear. Those kind of things.
And
The
Queen
nitty gritty, wouldn't
Queen
it?
Elizabeth II?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all sorts of people have got all sorts of stories. I think everybody's got a story, haven't they?
Well,
Everybody's
Alex,
got tales,
everyone
haven't they?
has a story to tell. That's what we're passionate about. I mean, that's all point of the business, the point of this podcast. You know, you're clearly a very successful woman in business. And that's why I wanted to have you on to share with our audience, you know, what's happening in Carmarthenshire. But also, you know, you have an important story, but so does, you know, Jess, who runs a small jacket potato business in Gowerton. You know, so it's not about, because you got lots more people and staff and bigger businesses. We all have equal value in sharing our stories. That's something we're really passionate about because, we've all got a story to tell. Yeah. So today we've heard it all from the Queen of Steel herself. If anyone has an interest in getting in touch with you, maybe they've got a business they want to invest in, or maybe they're like, do you know what? She'd be the perfect person to help me in my growing business. How can they best reach out to you?
LinkedIn, probably, or I have got a website currently under construction.
Ooh,
it's nearly
exciting.
It's nearly there. So, probably LinkedIn is probably the easiest, obvious one at the moment.
Yeah, fantastic. LinkedIn is the place to go. If you need steel, speak to Shufflebottom. If you need the Queen of Steel, speak to Alex. Alex, thank you so much for giving up your time today. You're a real inspiration. I got inspired when I heard you speak just a couple of weeks ago, was it a month ago, at the West Wales Business Hub. To see what you've done and what you've built is incredible, and to have a brand like that in Carmarthenshire, it's very inspiring for me as a business owner, and to hear how real you talk about business, the challenges you faced, because I totally relate to it, because I've been there. You know, I haven't worn the t-shirt quite like you. You've been there and done that for a long, long time. But to learn from you in this short time of knowing you has certainly helped me in my business. So thank you for sharing. And I wish you all the best in all that's going on this year. And I hope that you get lots of businesses you can mentor, support, and hopefully you can enjoy some time with the family, travel in the world. Yeah. Because you deserve all that sort of luck and success you've had to rest in continuing to build and support your growing family.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to What's Your Story. If you enjoy this conversation, I would encourage you to subscribe on your favourite podcast platform, whether that's Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, and the rest, because we don't want you to miss out on future episodes. Sharing these stories really helps us reach more people. And if you know someone in Wales or beyond with a great story to tell, let us know. Because we believe everyone has a story. Diolch am gwrando. Thank you for listening. We will see you in the next episode.